Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad to have you here. So for today's tutorial, we'll be learning how to draft a basic bodice block for a kid. So the measurements I'll be needing is the shoulder of the kid is 10, her chest is 24, her waist is 24, and then her half length is 11. So that's that. She's actually 6 years old. So let's go ahead to draft. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take her neckline. So basically for a child you can decide to use 2 or 2.5 depending on how you want the neck to be. But if you want to have a perfect neckline, like as in to have a perfect neckline, what you can decide to do is just to divide her chest by 12, and her chest is 24. Like I said earlier, 24 divided by 12 is going to give me 2. So I'm going to mark 2 here. That's for the width. 2. Take note that this is not actually constant. You can decide to, alter the neck the way you want it to be. So I marked 2 here. And then for the depth, I'm going to use 2.5. 2.5. So I'll go ahead and connect them. So after that, what I'm going to do is to take the shoulder slope. But first, I'm going to take her shoulder measurement. Her shoulder, like I said, it's 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So I'm going to mark 5. Then I'll come down by 1. And then I'll connect it to the neckline here. So after connecting, the next thing I'm going to do is to get her chest line. And then for the chest line, what you can do is you can just decide from the shoulder slope. You can decide to mark 5. Or you can say her chest divided by 4 minus 1. That's her chest, like I said earlier, is 24 divided by 4 is going to give us 6. 6 minus 1 is going to give us 5. So I'm going to mark 5. That's from her shoulder slope. But take note that if you're starting from the shoulder line, it's going to be 6. I hope you understand what I'm trying to explain. So starting here is going to give us 5. Like I said, starting from the shoulder slope, we minus 1 for the to get our shoulder slope. So starting from the shoulder line is going to give us 6. You mark your 6 and mark your 6. Or if you want to start from the shoulder slope, you just mark 5. You see, 5 and then 5. So that is that. So I want to have a straight line, so I'll just go ahead and mark that's her shoulder. Her shoulder is 10 divided by 2 is 5. So I want to make sure that my line is straight. So that's that. Then I'll connect it. So after drawing the line, I've drawn the line. So the next thing I'm going to do is to get her half length. Take note that her half length is 11, like I said earlier, which is this line here. This line here, which is going to serve as the waist. So the waist is 24. 24 divided by 4 is going to give us 6. It's going to give us 6. And then what I'm going to do is I'll connect this to this. And then I'm going to connect this to this. I'm going to stop somewhere here, somewhere here. So this, I'm going to stop on this line here. So the next thing I'm going to do is to get the armhole, and for the armhole I'm going to before I move over to the armhole, I want to explain something. Most of children's wear, you know, it's not necessary for you to put a dart. It's not necessary. You can actually decide not to put a dart. As you can see from her waist, her chest is 24 and her waist is 24. There is no difference. But if you want to, you know, add a dart, what you will just do is to take 3 inch. You just take 3 inch here, then take half on, but it's actually not necessary. It's actually not necessary. So let's move back to the armhole. So to get the armhole, what I did is to divide here, what I have from here to here is 5. So 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. 2.5 here. So I'm going to come in by 0.25. 0.25, which is here. 0.25, which is here. So I'm going to connect here like this. And then so that is that. Take note that you can decide to just mark half here, you know, and just then connect. If you are using your free hand to do it, you can decide to do that. So that's that. Let's move over to the back. So for the back, the neckline, we are going to take the same width, and what we took here was 2. So I'm going to mark 2. Then for the depth, I'm going to use 1. You can decide to use 1 or half, but for this tutorial I'm going to use 1. So the next, what I'm going to do next is to connect. So after connecting, I'm going to mark her shoulder, which is 10 divided by 2, 5. I'll come down by 1 inch to get my shoulder slope. 1 inch, and then I'm going to connect. So after that, we'll mark her chest line just the way we did this. That's how we are going to do it. And remember, I said to get her chest line, we're going to come down by 5, or you say her chest, which is 24, divide by 4 minus 1, which is 5. So this is it here, 5 here. So that's what I'm going to mark here. I want my line to be straight, so I want to have a straight line. So that's why I'm actually, you know, it's supposed to stop here. You see, it's supposed to stop here. So I'll connect them. So after that, I'm going to mark her waist to get the waistline. And remember, I said the waistline is, that's 24. 24 divided by 4 is going to give us 6. Take note that I'm not adding the seam allowance to the pattern paper. So when cutting on your fabric, make sure you add your seam allowance. Please make sure you mark your seam allowance. You add your seam allowance, sorry. Make sure you add your seam allowance. So for the back armhole, you know, for the front we came in by 0.25, but for the back we are not going to do that. We are just going to connect it. So like I said earlier, you can decide to just mark 0.5 here, 0.5, then just use your free hand to draw it, or you can still decide to use this. So whichever one you feel is okay for you. So as you can see, we are almost done with our basic bodice pattern for a kid. It's just for us to cut, but before I go ahead and cut, I would like to explain something. Like I said earlier, remember that I did not add the seam allowance. So please, when cutting on your fabric, do not forget to add your seam allowance. And also, I did not add the zip allowance on the pattern. You can just, if you want to add your zip allowance, when you place it on your fabric, or when you place it on your fabric, just add, depending on how many inch you want to add, you can add it. This is where you add it. If it's 1 inch, for example, what you do is to just add 1 inch here, mark 1 inch here, 1 inch here, and then connect it, and then you have your zip allowance here. And also, please, when marking, it's always advisable for you to use pencil to mark. It's preferable, because pencil will give you the exact measurement. I'm only using marker for it to be bolder. You know, if I decide to use pencil, it's not going to be, you might not be able to see it. So that is it. As you can see, I'm done. This is the front and this is the back. But please, before you go ahead and cut, always note the front pattern and the back pattern for you to be able to differentiate it. You can just use your marker and just, you know, write. Maybe here you write front, and here is going to be unfold, and here you write back, and so on and so forth, just to be able to differentiate. So that is that. I hope you learned something from this tutorial. If you do, not forget to give me a thumbs up, like, share with your friends. So it's like, come your way next time with another interesting tutorial. Do have a lovely day. Bye bye.